Professor Stephen Brown is talking about the Nazca mummies again. And we've got more to talk about the Nazca mummies, so it's time for another Nazca mummy news update. So get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. Okay, in a recent podcast, Dr. Stephen Brown, or Professor Stephen Brown, who, if you haven't seen the over hour-long lecture he gave about the Nazca mummies, and I've talked about that before, a brilliant lecture, coming out very pro-Nazca mummies. Well, now he is making the rounds, talking about one of my favorite subjects a little bit more. So let's give a listen.
Yeah, that's definitely what convinced me. A lot of the people who are dismissive of these are just looking at various features of the bones. And I mean, I agree. There's a lot of weird things about the bones, things that would need to be explained if we're trying to understand what they are. But it is the connective tissues that I find impressive, right? It's you couldn't just take a bunch of bones and then create artificially all of these connective tissues. Like, that's the part that I don't think is possible. And first, furthermore, like, if you think it's not, sometimes people push back, like, what do you mean it's not possible? We can do all kinds of crazy things. Well, okay, so let's say it might be, I don't even think it's possible to make one of these, but there's not one of them. There's 50 of them, right? And about half of them are just skulls, loose skulls, but about half of them are full bodies. So you have to make, 25 or so of them. And you have to make them in Pulpa, Peru, which is a little town, not a big, not a big industrial place or a big media center where you'd have a special effects shop or a high-end, biological lab that you could construct these really intricately made beings. Like, so is it in principle possible? Maybe, although I actually don't think so. Like, not using existing technology. I don't think you could 3D print a thing like this with the kind of structures that they have. I don't think you could glue it together. Anyways, if you kind of think through all of the different ways that one could construct such a thing, I don't think any of them work out. One of my dreams, my hopes and dreams, is to get Adam Savage involved from the Mythbusters, who now runs the Tested channel on YouTube. I would love to get Adam to do his best attempt at making a fake Nazca mummy that looks like these things do, all the way through, not just on the surface, but through all of the internal structure, and then, run it through a CT scanner and get it to look like this. And I bet not even Adam Savage could do it.
Okay, I love it. Yeah, let's get Mythbusters on this case, right? If they can manufacture a Nazca mummy complete with the connective tissue, etc., then okay, great. But until you can do that, stop with the harping, right? So, a great piece, and he goes on, and I'll link to this, and you can watch it below. Again, he did an over-hour presentation to a class on this, coming out very pro Nazca mummies. And he says the critical feature here isn't the bones necessarily, but the connective tissue that cannot be faked, because there are some weird anomalies with the bones. The debunkers will point out these anomalies as if case closed is debunked. Well, no, it just means we don't understand these beings at all. It's so weird. Did they do surgery on themselves? Did they replace bones? Did they switch things out? It's weird. We don't know we don't know what these guys were doing, but they were once living beings. They seem to have had high technology, or somebody associated with them had high technology, putting implants in, doing surgeries. Very interesting stuff. I love it. I want to know the truth of the Nazca mummies. I want to know what was going on. Where do they come from? Where do they go? What connection do they have, if any, with the elongated skull people? What's it all about, guys? So many questions. If we're just focused on are they real or not, we're never going to be able to get the answers to the really juicy stuff. All right, moving on. All right, breaking news. Peru's Minister of Culture went to visit the installations where the tridactyl mummies are studied. Yeah, I hope they had them under lock and key. But yeah, the Minister of Defense going to study the Nazca mummies. And of course, the Ministry of Culture, the Yeah, the Minister of Culture. Yeah, if the Minister of Defense went there, that would be really interesting. But it's the Minister of Culture, and of course, the Ministry of Culture has been hiding this stuff and covering this stuff up for a long time, even trying to seize the bodies at one of the most recent press events. So, hey, maybe he'll go there and a new day will dawn, right? It'll the scales will fall from his eyes, and he'll say, absolutely enough with the cover up already. We need to talk about the Nazca mummies. This is U.F.O disclosure. Maybe he'll say that. Maybe. Hey, I lived a dream, guys. I lived a dream. But I also wanted to talk about something else, and that is the connection that the beings had with the humans of the area. I think this is very important aspect of the whole Nazca mummy stuff that we don't talk too much about. But look at the armor. Look at the all of the stuff that was on these guys. It's crazy. It's crazy, guys. Well, and it's in the local artwork. There's all these depictions of these beings in the local artwork. It's crazy. Little tridactyl beings, alien heads. I mean, you can't tell me they're not depicting a Nazca mummy there. And there's so many examples of them appearing in the local artwork. And the beings themselves had armor, some of them, like I just showed, or a crown or a headdress and armor plates on them. So I don't believe that was the culture of the aliens or the beings, whatever they were. That definitely is in the style of the South Americans of the time. So did the humans make that armor for them? Or the headdresses and the crowns for them? I don't know, but I would love the answer to that. That seems to me the implication. Now, we also have, Maria here and all the other mummies that were mummified. They were mummified. Maria was placed in this pose. She was mummified in this pose. Other mummies, that they were ritually mummified. Brain was removed, organs were removed, some of them. Some of them still have a lot of intact organs. But they were ritually mummified by the humans. They were posed in these poses. They were placed in the tombs. They had armor. They had breastplates, likely made by the humans of the time. They were being depicted as living beings in the artwork of the people. So there is definitely indications that they were coexisting with the humans of the time. And I would love to know the truth of that. What place did they have in the society of these Nazca people? I want to know that. And, I'm hoping there are answers that can be found to that. And it's possible that some of these guys are still around, like with the Siberian being, right? If that was legit, and there's, definitely compelling reasons to think that was legit. If it was, that was fresh. That was fresh. Very sad that being died. But that was living not too long ago. And if there was one being living not too long ago, there's likely others. We could have an ongoing presence of the Nazca beings here on Earth today. Just like with those little guys, the Atacama mummy. Gary Nolan was saying off the record that was alien. That was real. And then we've seen that there are other examples of similar beings that were alive not too long ago in other parts of the world, like in Russia. I just did a piece on that the other day. So, there seem to be beings that are still alive on this earth today, and people have found these bodies. And in some cases, you can even study them. As some of the especially the older ones like the mummies. But yeah, so the Nazca mummy is super important. I want to know how they interacted with the peoples of the time. If there are still living examples of these beings, are they interacting with humans, or are they isolated and doing their own thing? If they're interacting with humans, they're certainly doing it under the radar. So not in the big public way that they seem to have been doing with the Nazca mummies thousands of years ago. But either way, I love it. Great stuff. Let me know how you think the Nazca beings were interacting with the people of Nazca back all that time, all those years ago. Who was making the armor? Who was making the headdresses? What were they sitting for portraits when they were making the art? Right? How involved, in other words, were the beings in the human culture? Or how involved were the humans in the beings culture? Man, I want some answers, guys. I want some answers, but let me know your thoughts. Maybe you have the answers in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, big thumbs up. I sure appreciate it. Smash the like button and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media. Facebook and Twitter links below. If you wanted to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, there's t-shirts and coffee mugs in the merch store below, or you can become a channel member. See the link below. There's plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.